There is a moment in live performance. Not every performer finds it, and most who do only find it once or twice in a career, where the space between the artist and the crowd completely disappears. Where the sound coming out of a human body stops feeling like sound and starts feeling like something else entirely. Something closer to memory. Something closer to grief. Something that has no name in any language, but that every single person watching understands at exactly the same time. On March 21st, 2026, in Gwanghwamun Square in the heart of Seoul, in front of an estimated 260,000 people and millions more watching live on Netflix across 190 countries, ParkJimin found that moment. And once you've seen it, once you've heard it, it becomes very difficult to talk about anything else. Let's rewind. Because to understand what happened during the slow segment of BTS's comeback concert, the section that has now been clipped, rewatched, shared, and cried over more times than any other moment from that night, you have to understand what preceded it. You have to understand the weight that was already in the air before Jimin even opened his mouth. BTS had not performed together as a full group since October 2022. That's not a small gap. That's not a hiatus in the normal pop music sense of the word. For ARMY, those years were something else entirely. One by one, the members disappeared into military service. Jimin enlisted, then Jungkook, then V. Month by month, the group that had defined a generation, that had broken Billboard records no K-pop act had ever touched, that had made people feel less alone in cities they had never visited, that group went quiet, went dark. The silence was so loud it had its own texture. And the world kept moving, and the music industry kept releasing things, and ARMY kept streaming solo albums and keeping the fandom alive on Weverse and Twitter and every other platform, but the seven of them together on a stage, in the same moment, that hadn't existed for almost 4 years. So when RM said, "Hello, we are back at the top of the show," when the opening notes of Body to Body hit and the lights blazed and Gwanghwamun Square erupted, there was already something massive in the air. It wasn't just excitement. It was the release of something that had been held very, very tightly for a very long time. And BTS, being BTS, took that energy and spent the first half of the concert converting it into pure momentum. Hooligan 2.0, FYA. Song after song landing like a statement, like a fist hitting a table, like proof. This was not a group that had gotten smaller during their time away. This was not a group you could diminish or outlast or wait out. The rap line was ferocious. The production, with names like Diplo, Flume, Chpeg Mafia, and Kevin Parker scattered across the credits, was unlike anything BTS had released before. And the crowd, all 260,000 of them, responded to every single second of it. But then something changed. It happened after Aliens and FYA. It happened the way great concert moments always happen. Not announced, not telegraphed, just arrived. The lighting shifted. The tempo of the set dropped. And BTS moved into the back half of the Erarang album, into the slower, more interior songs that critics had already been calling some of the most emotionally complex work of the group's career. Swim came first, with its wave-like choreography and its message about moving forward even when the current is against you. And then came the moment that everyone, regardless of which member they stand, regardless of how many years they've been in the fandom, cannot stop talking about. The vocal line segment, Jungkook, V, Jin, and Jimin. Here is what you need to understand about ParkJimin going into this concert. His solo years were not years of rest. While his bandmates were completing their service and finding their own footing as individual artists, Jimin was building. His album's face and muse had already expanded what people thought they knew about his range, his emotional intelligence as a performer, his willingness to go to places in a song that most vocalists approach carefully, if they approach them at all. Critics noticed. Fans noticed. But a studio album, no matter how good, can only show you so much. A studio album is controlled, edited, perfected. It doesn't show you what happens when there are no edits, when the crowd is live and the air is cold and the stakes are as high as they have ever been in your career. Gwanghwamun showed you what happens. Merry Go Round is a track from Erarang that, on the album, already carries a haunting quality. It's a Kevin Parker production. The Tame Impala frontman bringing his signature psychedelic sway to a BTS record, which on paper sounds like an experiment and in practice sounds like something that was always meant to exist. The The song searches for an escape from a painful cycle, from the feeling of being trapped in something that keeps repeating. Co-written by Suga and J-Hope during their hiatus, it has the DNA of men who spent 18 months in barracks thinking about who they were outside of BTS and what it means to come back. When Jimin delivered his part on the studio version, listeners responded immediately. Billboard's All Tracks ranking called his expanded vocal tone in the chorus a standout, noting he could anchor hip-hop adjacent production as convincingly as a ballad. But nothing on that album, nothing in his solo discography, prepared people for what happened when he sang it live. The word that keeps appearing in ARMY posts and in music media coverage in the hours after the concert is one word: shining. A Star News review captured the response from fans who watched in real time, quoting reactions like, "Jimin's vocal purifies everything. Why is Jimin's voice shining? And is this the same person?" That last one is the most revealing. Not because it's a genuine question, ARMY knows exactly who Jimin is, but because it captures the sensation of witnessing someone perform at a level that exceeds what you thought you knew was possible. The same person question isn't confusion. It's awe. It's the feeling of watching someone become more themselves than they've ever been before. And the reason it hits so hard, the reason this particular performance in this particular setting unlocks something that even Jimin's best studio work hadn't quite managed, comes down to the accumulation of everything that came before it that night. It comes down to context. By the time Jimin stepped into his spotlight for the vocal line segment, the crowd had already been through something together. They had screamed through the high-energy openers. They had felt that specific joy of seeing all 7 members on stage for the first time in years. They had heard Jimin himself address them directly in the speaking segment, thanking fans with a moved and open sincerity that Jimin fans will tell you is one of his defining qualities. Not performed gratitude, but real gratitude, the kind that sits somewhere in the chest. He told the crowd he was so moved to be speaking there. He said seeing all 7 members together on stage made him so happy. He said, "We missed you so much," and every person listening believed him completely. And then the set moved into the slower songs. And the emotional temperature of Gwangwamun Square shifted in a way that 260,000 people registered in their bodies before they registered it in their minds. The Star News report noted that Jimin had expanded his vocal spectrum on Arirang, completely changing his singing and tone across different songs. What live performance does, what the best live performances have always done, is take that spectrum and stretch it further. Because in a studio, you can go back. You can try again. You can protect yourself with the knowledge that if this take doesn't work, there will be another. But at Gwangwamun, on March 21st, 2026, in front of the largest K-pop concert crowd in the history of Seoul, with the statue of King Sejong behind the stage and the lights of the city surrounding everything, there is no second take. There is only this. And Jimin gave everything he had. The reaction that swept through the crowd during his delivery of Merry-Go-Round was the kind of reaction that commentators and journalists struggle to describe because it doesn't behave like typical concert enthusiasm. It wasn't screaming, though there was screaming. It wasn't the kind of crowd energy that spikes and drops. It was something more sustained, something closer to collective breath-holding followed by collective exhale. A fan tweet that circulated widely after the show said simply, "Thank you BTS for choosing like animals on your setlist tonight. The vocals got me entering a new dimension." That phrase, entering a new dimension, captures something real about what great live vocal performance does. It doesn't just impress you, it relocates you. You are not where you were before you heard it. What makes this specific performance the subject of so much conversation, the clip that fans outside South Korea were watching on their phones at 5 in the morning in their respective time zones, the moment that even casual observers of K-pop are pointing to as an example of what separates certain performers from the rest, is that it combined everything Jimin does well into a single concentrated expression. The emotional precision that his solo work demonstrated, the technical control that he has been building across a decade of performing at the highest level. The physical presence, and Jimin's physical presence on a stage is something that defies easy description. It's not just that he is a beautiful performer to watch, it's that he performs as though the song is happening inside him and the stage is simply the place where it's visible. All of that converging in one moment, in one venue on one night. There is also something important to say about the setting itself and what it meant for this performance specifically. Gwangwamun Square is not just a concert venue. It is, as multiple outlets noted in their coverage of the evening, one of South Korea's most historically and politically significant public spaces. The statues of King Sejong and Admiral Lee Sun-shin stand there. It's where Koreans have gathered to protest, and to mourn, and to celebrate through some of the most significant moments in the country's recent history. BTS performing there, with Arirang, an album explicitly built around themes of Korean identity and cultural roots, was already a statement before a single note was played. When the concert opened with a pansori-style performance of the traditional Arirang folk song woven into Body to Body, the entire meaning of the night was established. This was not just a comeback. This was a homecoming. This was 7 men born in South Korea who became the most globally recognized musical act their country has ever produced, returning to their spiritual home and saying, "This is where we are from. This is who we are." For Jimin, whose artistic identity has always been wrapped up in the space between discipline and feeling, between the rigorous technical training that K-pop idol culture demands and the emotional rawness that great performance requires, there may be no more fitting stage in the world than Gwangwamun. He told the crowd that night that he and the members were not special people. That they were, like ARMY, always afraid, but that he believed if they kept swimming together, they would find the answer. Swim is, of course, the album's title track, about moving forward through difficulty, about not measuring your pace against anyone else's. But in that moment, standing on that stage, Jimin was not just delivering a message from a song. He was living it out loud, in public, in real time. This is why people keep coming back to the footage. This is why ARMY, who watched it live at 8 in the morning, barely awake, with the volume low so they wouldn't wake up their families, are still describing it days later in the most expansive terms they can find. This is why music journalists who cover K-pop as a beat, who have been to dozens of BTS shows, who have seen Jimin perform hundreds of times in concert films and live streams and award show stages, are using phrases like best live performance ever and meaning it. Because here is the thing about best ever claims in music. They're almost always wrong, or at least incomplete, and usually the people making them know that. Music is too personal, too context-dependent, too tied to individual memory and emotional state to ever be reducible to a single moment. But sometimes something happens that makes the claim feel less like an argument and more like a description. Sometimes a performance doesn't need to be ranked because it simply exists in a category of its own. What Jimin did on March 21st at Gwangwamun Square was remind everyone, the 260,000 people who were there, the millions who watched on Netflix, and the broader music world that has been tracking BTS's return, of something that can get lost in the machinery of a massive comeback. The streaming numbers, the album charts, the world tour announcements, the Netflix deal, the merchandise, all of it real, all of it impressive, all of it testament to what BTS has built. But underneath all of that is the thing that made any of it possible in the first place. 7 people from South Korea who know how to make you feel something. 7 people who went away and came back having become more of themselves than they were before. 7 people who stood in Gwangwamun Square in front of the largest K-pop crowd in Seoul's history and gave everything they had. Jimin gave more than everything. He gave what you didn't know was possible to give. And that, more than any chart position or streaming record, is why the clips are still being shared. Why the comments keep filling up with fans who can't find the right words and end up writing just the vocals. Why professional reviewers who are paid to find the right words are also struggling. Why someone watching in Indonesia said, "I'm not even Korean, but I'm getting goosebumps." Why the word shining keeps appearing in dozens of different languages across every social media platform with footage from that night. Because some performances don't just sound good. They make you understand, for a few minutes, what the human voice is actually for. What it can carry. What it can hold. What it can give you that nothing else in the world can. There's another dimension to this that doesn't get discussed enough in the immediate aftermath of a performance like this, when everyone is still in the emotional flood of it, still sharing clips, still writing about their feelings. It's a more technical dimension. And it matters, because part of what makes Jimin's performance at Gwangwamun so impossible to dismiss, even for people who don't follow BTS, even for people who came to the Netflix stream out of curiosity rather than fandom, is that it isn't just emotionally overwhelming. It is technically extraordinary. The two things together are what create the category problem. You can train yourself, as a listener, to hear emotion separately from technique. A lot of popular music depends on emotional delivery that leans on imperfection, on rawness, on the sense that the voice is barely contained. And there is real beauty in that. But Jimin is doing something different. He is giving you the rawness and the precision simultaneously. The high notes in Merry-Go-Round are not notes that most vocalists attempt in a live setting, in the cold night air, after an already physically and emotionally demanding first half of a concert. The breath control required to hold those notes while simultaneously performing the choreography, while simultaneously connecting with 260,000 people in front of him and millions behind a screen. That is a level of mastery that takes a decade to build. Jimin has been building it since before most of his fans were old enough to understand what they were watching. They understand it now. There is also something worth saying about what this moment means for the larger conversation about Jimin as an artist, not just as a member of BTS, but as a solo performer who spent the hiatus years proving that he could hold a stage entirely on his own terms. Face and Muse were critical turning points. Face, in particular, was widely read as a confessional record, Jimin working through the anxiety and identity questions that come with being one of the most visible people on the planet. Lie had already become one of the most talked about moments in BTS concert history. But those solo performances, as stunning as they were, existed in a context where Jimin was carrying the weight alone. At Gwangwoman, he has his members beside him, and somehow that makes the individual moments hit harder, not softer. Because you understand what it costs to be apart, and you understand what it means to be together again. And when Jimin sings in that context, with that history in the room, the emotional stakes of every single note are multiplied by everything the crowd already knows. He is not just performing a song. He is performing the answer to 4 years of waiting. He is performing what it feels like to come home. And that ultimately is what separates this performance from the other great ones in his career. Not the technical execution, though the technical execution is flawless. Not the production, though the production is stunning. Not even the setting, though Gwangwoman on a night like this is as powerful a stage as any artist has ever stood on. What separates it is meaning. The convergence of the right song, the right voice, the right moment, and 4 years of accumulated longing that an entire global fandom brought into that square with them and gave back to BTS when the music started. Jimin gave that at Gwangwoman. He gave it live, he gave it to the world, and the world is not going to forget it anytime soon.